So I recently bought a used M1 Pro 14-inch MacBook instead of the M2 MacBook Air. And with that, I'm also very deep into the Apple ecosystem. But that's a topic for another video, so be sure to subscribe to the channel for that. But in this video, let's discuss how I ended up doing so. Now, a little bit of a backstory. I've always used my Windows laptop for video editing. Actually, my work Windows laptop for video editing. But recently I changed job, and so I've always wanted to get my own laptop for video editing, and I thought this was it, and this is when I needed to take that step. And so yeah, I started looking for MacBooks, and it made sense to get the M1 MacBook Air, which I guess would be enough for me for my daily use. But then rumors started coming in that Apple is going to reveal the redesigned M2 MacBook Air. And so obviously, being the tech nerd I am, I wanted to wait for the Apple event, which happened on June 6th, to actually see what the M2 MacBook Air would offer. Now, fast forward to the event, Apple did reveal the M2 Air, but there were a couple of things that I was worried about. Now, personally, I did love the design. I love the new colors, the performance gains over the M1 Air. But like I said, small things that did worry me a little. The first one was the pricing. Now, $200 increase is kind of a lot, especially if you take into consideration that I'm in Canada and it's obviously more expensive than US dollar. And the second was they did not decrease the price of the M1 MacBook Air. And the third was the availability. Apple just mentioned the fact that they're going to release it sometime next month. And it could be the end of the month for what we know, but we weren't sure about that either. And I really wanted a laptop then and there during that time of June, which was the first couple of weeks. After the event, I went on to the apple.ca website for Canada. I spec'd out the M2 MacBook Air at 16 gigabytes of RAM. The base storage was fine because I do have 1 terabyte of SSD lying around. And the pricing came out to be at actually $1,800, which is obviously after the student discount that I still am eligible for. So yeah, lucky me. But yeah, $1,800 was fine. Like I said, it's a bit on the higher side. But like I said, the only issue was the release date. And being the tech nerd I am, I did not want to buy the M1 MacBook Air anymore because it seemed outdated with its design and, having no MagSafe and everything. So what happened was I went on to the Apple site. I looked at the M1 Pro MacBook, the 14-inch one, and the pricing for that was, including taxes, $2,600 after the student discount. I know it's really expensive, but since I was getting a laptop of my own for the first time in my life, I did not really care about the money that much. I just wanted a really good machine that would last me many years. But then again, the issue with that was the availability of the M1 Pro MacBook. Due to COVID, as you know, chip shortages, the delivery date for that MacBook, the base model, was going into August, actually, almost the end of August for me here. And that obviously didn't make sense. Waiting 3 months for that MacBook didn't make sense at all. So in the end, I thought maybe I would just wait for the M2 MacBook Air in July, and that's that. One day I was just sitting using my phone and I opened up Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji, and I started searching for, used M1 Pro MacBooks, the 14-inch one. The selling price for those was around $2,400, I believe. And I thought I could negotiate into getting like a lower price around $2,000, $2,100, depending on how lightly used the laptop was. So I messaged a few sellers, nothing came to fruition. In the end, I was so frustrated, I thought I'll just wait for July to come. And what happened was on the morning of June 11th, I got a message from one of the sellers who was actually ready to sell me his MacBook Pro, which was very lightly used, by the way, just 2 months old. So it did have a 10-month warranty period still left and a battery cycle count of just 7 or 8, I believe. And he was ready to sell me that for $2,100. So same day I go out, I check the laptop, it was awesome, everything was working. I loved the laptop actually, and I ended up getting the 14-inch MacBook Pro. And yeah, that's the story of how I ended up getting that MacBook. Now I know not everyone has the same mindset as me, like people do not want to get a used product. They just want a brand new product no matter the cost. But for me, I was okay with paying a little less for a used laptop instead of, paying much more and actually waiting a couple of months as well. And the other thing that might make more sense for other people is actually the pricing. So if you don't have the student discount here in Canada, the M2 MacBook Air, which is spec to 16 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabytes of storage, the pricing for that laptop is actually $2,300 Canadian, which is way expensive. It's almost in the MacBook Pro territory. So yeah, I got the MacBook Pro for $2,100, which is actually $200 cheaper than a brand new MacBook Air, similarly spec'd. But yeah, that's it for this video. In the next video, I'll talk about why I love this laptop, why I think it's one of the best decisions I've made. And yeah, be sure to subscribe for that, and I'll see you guys in the next one.